together. Now, what are our commitments at Yorkville University? We want to work together with you, and we want you to understand that we're all on the same side. We have a common goal to get the students to their seats at the university. This way, we have your valued students here, and you have your students approved. We're seeing that IRCC has been big on refusals lately. We're seeing, I'm sure all of you are also seeing multiple refusals coming in, and on various factors, which we will get to a little bit later in the presentation. And here we would like to make you aware that we have various immigration support services that we provide, that our team provides through various platforms. We're available for one-on-one consultations with our students via Zoom, via email, as well as through WhatsApp. There is a study permit assistance program that we provide. What that entails is we provide our students with a statement of purpose template. The students will draft their SOP based on the template that we provide them with, and then we will work with the students in reviewing and providing feedback of this SOP until a really fantastic final version is ready. We will also, speak with the student, understand what their story is, what their background is, what their experiences are, and we will guide on gathering proper documentation for these students accordingly. If there have been previous refusals, then we will help the students interpret the GCMS notes, what really went wrong, and how they can improve their reapplication. Like I said, we provide case-specific consultation. As you all know, every student's case is different. The kind of documentations that go into it are different. The kind of explanation that they need to provide in their SOPs or cover letters, it all varies. So we will be able to guide them accordingly. Also, we do final application checks, like a swift, quick check of all the documentation once it's ready to be uploaded and submitted. We believe that having multiple eyes is great. I'm sure y'all are doing your due diligence, providing amazing application packages. So just another eye, a second eye to look into these applications is what we are offering as well. Now, why does cooperation matter? We really believe that you all have very strong relationships with your students. They trust you. You're the ones that they've given the responsibility to discuss and choose the ideal destination for them, the ideal course for them, the university for them. So they have a lot of trust in you. Therefore, your role becomes very important in guiding these students towards our resources. And basically a win-win situation at the end of the day. You introduce your students to our webinars and our support services, and a stronger support from both y'all and from us would lead to more enrollments at the university. And with more enrollments, under your belt, you have enhanced credibility with students and parents. And like I said, a second pair of eyes, a second opinion could make a lot of difference in an application. Everybody has new ways and new ideas to present an application. So that can help the application become flawless, strong, and, improve chances of approvals. I'd like to, if y'all are not aware, I'd like to introduce you to our study permit preparation webinars that we host for our students. We conduct these webinars every week, twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays. Please let your students know about these webinars. We provide some very useful information on how they can go about, how they can start preparing for their study permit application. The QR code is on the screen. You all can, use your phones to capture the QR code and share them with your students to register. I'll let the screen be for like 30 seconds, maybe, if you would like to capture the QR code. Also, Sarah Wong, you could share the registration links in the chat box if somebody misses out on the QR code.
I'd just like to add too, please ask any questions in the Q&A box at the bottom as well while we go. We'll do our best to answer them as we go, or save some of the good questions for the end. So just want to remind everyone, please don't be shy. Ask away.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay. So moving on, let's discuss what the recent trends have been in terms of refusals. As we all know, we have been seeing many, refusals lately. We've been seeing quick decisions. Applications are being refused within days, a couple of days, within a week and all of that. And we have realized that meeting the minimum requirement is just not enough anymore. It is important that applications are flawless, placing pressure on the immigration officers to actually find reasons for rejection rather than student applications failing due to incomplete or inadequate documentation. And what these recent trends and these refusals, the kind of impact they're having are now, as you all know, every reapplication requires a new PAL. Unlike last year, where the same PAL could have been used again and again for reapplications, things have changed. IRCC requires that every time a new application is submitted, the student submits a new PAL with the reapplication. Also, a reassessment would be required to avoid another refusal for similar reasons, and this would just delay the whole process for the student. So it is very important that the very first application that goes in is the best application that is submitted. Now, the latest common reasons for refusals. Financials has been at the very top. Insufficient documentation, misrepresentation. I can tell you specifically from certain regions like Nigeria, we are seeing in terms of financials, the reasons that we see in the GHCMS notes are unusual sponsors. There is no history of funds. The proof of employment is missing. Like there is no proof of an ongoing income, missing salary slips. Only property evaluation reports are submitted and a savings certificate. So it is important that the sponsor has to be in close relation to the student. They should be able to prove the relationship in terms of a birth certificate, marriage certificate. If it's an uncle, then the relation between the parents and that uncle. It is important to prove that the person who is willing to take on such a big financial responsibility of the student is closely associated with the student. Also very important to show funds history, at least 6 months bank statements showing the income in the bank accounts. There has to be explanation for any huge sums of funds being deposited in the account, documentary proof, cover letter explanations, proof of the sponsor's employment, or if they're running a business, then business registration documents, pay slips, tax documents. All of this is extremely important to show strong financials. Otherwise, applications are being refused in a matter of days. Language proficiency, of course, for countries where language is a requirement. Make sure that your students score an overall, for IELTS, an overall 6.5 with no band less than 6. And for PTE, it is absolutely important that no module is below 60. We have seen tons of applications being refused if the students are not meeting this language requirement. Also, the purpose. The purpose of study is inconsistent with their stay in Canada. Very common reason, which is where the statement of purpose comes into play. A very important document that needs to go in with their application, although an SOP is not mandatory. It is the only document where the student can actually, speak to the visa officer and explain why they want to come to Canada, why they deserve to come to Canada, and how it's going to make a difference to them when they go back home. Now, since financials has been the top reason this year that we're seeing, or in fact from late 2024, financials have been at the top. So we thought we can discuss the kind of documentation you can work with the students on, getting the documentation and submitting. Also make sure that the documents that the students are providing you with are legit, because as we go further, I can show you some GCMS notes where the visa officer is actually questioning the authenticity of the documents as well. So make sure that the students are doing their due diligence and providing you with legitimate documentation. So let's go over some of the financial documents that we highly recommend is included in the application. An affidavit from the sponsor, basically affirming and stating that they are indeed going to be sponsoring the education of the student, their government ID, their relationship proof, like I just said earlier, proof of tuition fee receipt, a GIC account with a minimum of 20,635, or a savings account with this amount. However, like I said, this is the minimum requirement prescribed by IRCC, but minimum is no longer helping. They want to see more. They want to see that if they have $20,635, how are they? There has to be like an ongoing income also that the student should be able to show, proving that they will be able to comfortably complete their education in Canada without working in Canada. Student sponsors employment proof, whether that is an employment letter or business registration document. It is absolutely important to include this in the application as well. The last 6 months bank statements of the sponsor showing monthly income from source of employment, like we just discussed. Proof of or if you are running a business, proof of actively running business or employment, such as business registration documents, payslips. Tax documents that will show proof of annual income, personal tax documents, and if applicable, business tax documents as well. Also include a property evaluation report. Only investment properties matter in this case, and preferably an official evaluation report. And any additional savings, fixed deposits, investments, all of that can be included. Do not think that 20,635 is all, is enough. It is not. The more, the better, the stronger the chances of getting an approval. Now, what should be the next steps for all of you as agents as soon as you receive a refusal for your student? Of course, you will inform Yorkville University, request for a deferral, and receive updated documents such as an LOA and PAL. Request for GCMS notes, absolutely important, and that should be the very first thing. As soon as a refusal is received, by default, GCMS notes or ATIP notes need to be applied for, because it takes time. As you all know, it could take anywhere from 10 days to 4 weeks to receive a GCMS notes. So instead of wasting time for reapplication, the next step, immediate next step, should be applying for GCMS notes. Sometimes if the GCMS notes are taking a long time to be received, then based on the refusal letter, if you have some sort of an idea, say, the reasons is refusal, you can help the student improve their documentation for financials and submit the application. And when the GCMS notes have been received, you can have a look at it and you can see if there were any more reasons, any more concerns that the visa officer had put forward in those notes. Then you can address them by submitting, a letter of explanation or documentation via web form. After requesting for GCMS notes, please encourage your students to also book an appointment with us, because, after you have had a look at the notes and, made a plan on how the next application can be, we can also assist in doing the same thing. We can, maybe we have a different angle at, looking at this refusal, and we would have new ideas on how this application can be improved. So, like I said, we can work together on the reapplication. We just need that you encourage your students to reach out to us as well. Now, why are GCMS notes critical? Why do we keep emphasizing on apply for GCMS notes? Basically, as you all know, GCMS notes contain detailed notes of the visa officer on any application. You would get detailed insights into why the application was refused. Very often, refusal letters have very generic reasons for refusals. They may not be very clear, they might be a little too generic, and all reasons are not really included in the refusal letter. But you will see all of that in detail in the GCMS notes, which is why it is very, very important that we're able to actually address the real concern in a reapplication. And why do we need to request them immediately? So that we can get to the reapplication faster, so that we're not wasting any more time, and we have the time to prepare a clear strategy on how to present the reapplication forward to IRCC. Now, we've got a few examples of GCMS notes from various countries for various reasons that we just discussed. So now this one was for a student from Nigeria, and the visa officer was actually questioning the sponsor relationship. So let me read this out for you. The visa officer says, I have reviewed the application, and the applicant's assets and financial situation are insufficient to support the stated purpose of travel. Bank statements provided for third party, that is Uncle Frederick, who is sponsoring the PA studies. No documentation provided to establish family link between the PA and the sponsor. Basically, no proof of relationship was provided. Based on the documentation on file and the limited information demonstrating nature of relationship between the applicant and what appears to be a financial sponsor, I have concern that the third-party funds would be insufficient and available for the proposed studies. Therefore, the application is refused. Basically, there wasn't enough evidence to provide what the relation between the sponsor and the student is. Also, there was very limited information provided, documentation provided on the funds itself. So the officer was not satisfied and they refused the application. Now, for the refusal letter, this is what the refusal letter said. I am not satisfied that you will leave Canada at the end of your stay as required by ERPR, because your assets and finance situation are insufficient to support the stated purpose of travel for yourself and for any accompanying family members. So if you just look at the refusal letter, you'd probably think, oh, maybe I need to provide more financial documentation. Maybe I'll provide a couple more bank statements and all of that. But you would have never known that the visa officer is actually questioning the relationship with the sponsor itself. He's questioning the sponsor itself. And you would never be able to get to that and address that concern if you hadn't seen the GCMS notes. And this is the reason why we emphasize so much on GCMS notes and the importance of it. Another example is also from Nigeria, financials. The applicant's assets and financial situation are insufficient to support the stated purpose of travel for the applicant. The proof of funds on file from the applicant's father provided. Financial information is not supported with sufficient evidence for bank statement balances on file, limited evidence pertaining to the source of stated funds. Basically, the financial information that they've provided, I'm not sure, I haven't seen what documentation was provided for the student, but it was insufficient. Probably the bank statements that they had, probably there was funds that suddenly appeared in these bank statements, and there was no proof of source of these funds. Where is this money coming from? Probably there was no documentation provided for what the sponsor does, where is the income coming from, and all of that. So there was very, very limited and insufficient evidence of finances for this student, and it got refused. The refusal letter stated that your assets and financial situation are insufficient to support the stated purpose of travel. Again, a very, very generic refusal reason pertaining to financials was provided here. And now for Uzbekistan, also we've been seeing a lot of refusals based on financials. And also, something that we've noticed with Uzbekistan is that the officers are first providing applicants with a procedural fairness letter. I have a copy of that as well in the following slides. We'll get to that shortly. But let's read the GCMS notes here. The proof of 55,000 USD savings provided are not in line with the savings funds deposited in bulk. See, there was 55,000 USD deposited in bulk in March of 2024. Provenance unclear. They don't know where this money has come from. No explanation was provided. Just a huge income was taken and deposited in the bank. The applicant's assets and financial situation are insufficient to support the stated purpose of travel for the applicant. The applicant's current employment situation does not show that they are financially established in their country of residence. The applicant has limited employment possibilities in their country of residence. So the finances did not make sense to the visa officer. You're showing such huge savings that just appear out of nowhere in your bank account. There is no explanation provided for it. And then the employment of the sponsor probably it doesn't align with the savings in the account. Probably the income that the sponsor is making and the savings does not make sense because no explanation is provided. And then limited employment possibilities. This is something that can be explained in the SOP. Maybe the SOP did not have any of this. It is important that the student emphasizes on why they're choosing to come to Canada. How is this going to help them? Why are they spending so much money and coming here? What are they going to take back with them? And what kind of opportunities, goals do they see back home? It is very important to explain all of this in the SOP. So that's how this can be tackled. The refusal letter here said, your assets and financial situation are insufficient to support the stated purpose of travel. Your current employment situation does not show that you're financially established in the country, and you have limited employment opportunities. Now, this letter is still better. This refusal letter is still much, much better than many other refusal letters that we see. But in these cases, like I said, procedural fairness letters are also provided. We'll get to that. Now, GCMS notes, again, sponsor relationship, financials, and this is from Ethiopia. I reviewed the application. The applicant has not submitted enough supporting documents to satisfy me that the applicant has access to sufficient funds for this visit. The applicant's assets and financial situation are insufficient to support the stated purpose of travel. The LOA and PAL matched, which is great. 5,500 Canadian dollars were prepaid as tuition. Scholarship noted in the LOA. Bank statement indicates sufficient funds. However, the applicant did not substantiate relationship with the account holder. And that is why the application got refused. The source of funds have not been explained or substantiated with additional documents. There is insufficient evidence showing how the large savings were accumulated in the bank account. Very, very clear notes from the visa officer, very similar to one of the previous refusals we just read about. There is no relationship proof that was provided with the sponsor, no explanation given for these, huge amounts of money in the bank account. So all this is important. The visa officer is going to question where the money is coming from and who your sponsor is. Why is this person ready to take on such a big financial responsibility for you? So please, it is absolutely important that students include all of these documents in their application. And now for this application refusal letter, all it said was, you have not provided sufficient documentation to support you and your host's income and assets. Your assets and financial situation are insufficient to support state purpose of travel for yourself. They haven't mentioned anything about, they doubting the relationship with the sponsor, no sufficient proof was provided to prove relationship and all of that. That was determined after looking at the GCMS notes. Now, this is the procedural fairness letters that have been going out to students from Uzbekistan. This is just a very small portion of the letter. These letters are pretty long, and they provide the students with an opportunity to explain further the documentation that has been provided. Now, this is kind of concerning because it says, I will just read the highlighted part. Specifically, I have concerns that you submitted fraudulent banking information regarding your application. Based on expert comparison of your statement with legitimate bank statements, there are concerns that the transaction history is recycled and or altered. As such, I am considering your application for misrepresentation proceedings. So, I know it is difficult for you all as agents to be able to, maybe the documentations that you receive are, they look authentic, but it is important that all of you and us pay extra attention to the documents that are being provided to us by the students, and to make sure that these are genuine, real, authentic documents that are being provided to us. Because if I'm sure all of you know, if these students get refused based on misrepresentation for 5 years, they're not going to be able to apply to Canada. And it also leaves, black mark on their immigration history, be it for Canada or for any other country. So I think it is important for all of us to actually focus on the kind of documents that are being provided to us by the students, and to explain to them the consequences of submitting such documents. Now, I'd like to share, a little our SOP template that we actually share with the students, just so, we can discuss what are the very important pieces of information that need to be included in an SOP. What we actually emphasize on, of course, an introduction, opening, and all of that. It is very important to talk about education and if there is any work experience that the student is bringing in, because that is how you kind of stitch up the connection, draw the connection between their past education and work experience, and how this program that they've chosen is going to be a step up for them. How this is just going to take them a level higher and enhance their career opportunities. So it is very important to draw that, to provide all this information, so the visa officer can actually draw a relation between the past, the current, and the future. Again, very important to explain why the student wants to study this particular program. Why are they choosing to study in Canada? Why do they want to study at YU? And this should be their own reasons. We have to encourage students to sit down and actually write the SOP themselves, based on their reasons why they chose this program, why they chose Canada, and why they chose this particular university, rather than, Googling it or using AI to come up with answers, because then every SOP will look the same. And these officers can see that. Now, it is also very important to provide financial information in the SOP. Just because financial documents are being submitted does not mean that you leave out this information. It just makes the case easier. The visa officer will read, will get a very good sense of what is the financial background of the student, who is the student sponsor, what the sponsor does, how much income the sponsor makes. Mention that in Canadian dollars, and then how much savings they have. Mention all of this in the SOP, just to make the visa officer's life easier. So once they read all of this, then they know what to look for. They know the kind of documents to look for. And then again, very important to include ties to home country and return plan, because the visa officers want to see that the intention of the student is just to come here, finish their education, and go back to their home country. So these are some very important components or aspects of an SOP that must not be missed, and must be included in applications. So now, to conclude, these are the conclusions we are drawing from today's webinar. IRCC, as we know, has raised the bar really, really high. So we just need to flow with the new trend. Very important to give emphasis to language if it applies to your country, and financials that applies to everybody. Very important to write a very strong and compelling statement of purpose. Do not take this, they must know that it should not be taken lightly. Ensure the completeness and accuracy to avoid misrepresentation. Submit the strongest possible application in the very first attempt. Let's not leave it for reapplication. Let's not leave any scope for the visa officer to point a finger on. It must be the absolute best application that goes out the very first time. In case if there is a refusal, always apply for GCMS notes as soon as the refusal is received. And we all need to understand that all of us have a common goal, which is student success. And with that, we come to an end of this webinar. If there are any questions, please feel free to shoot them at us.
Thank you very much, Aisha. We have some questions, and then some of them has been answered by us. And the first one, Shweta, are you able to answer it? Oh, okay, I will read the question. In the last 2 years now, it has been high rate for visa refusals. Even while student has provided all the required document, the visa still end up being refused. And this seems like the Canada Embassy has closed their visa to international students. My question was that what are the new measures students can put in place that will assist in visa approval?
Okay, so I'll answer the question one by one. So, in Canadian Embassy has not closed the door for international student. They are still accepting the student, but since they have to accept only a few application, or I will say reduced number of application, so they are just picking the best as per their standard, their own criteria. So no matter, we are doing our part best. I mean, like you think, like the previously last year, if such kind of application were getting approved, they will get approval this year also. So no, not this is not the case. And Aisha said they have standard their bar. Recently we are seeing a trend, like a particular format, a particular type of case are only seeing approval, and we have to follow the same trend, and the trend is finances. Now going back to your first and second statement, like last 2 years, yes, high rate of refusal while student has provided all the requirement documents. So yes, you think that you have provided all the required documents, but to be honest, when we see all the documents, as I just said, we can easily point out the mistake that they have done in the previous application. So consider, if it's so easy for us to find out the quick reason for the refusal, if we are not satisfied as an IAIS or immigration assistant at Yorkville University, if we can recognize the problem, the mistake, visa officer are more smarter and more experienced than us. So again, it's not enough. You're providing every document, but maybe that is not officer is looking for, maybe that is not updated, maybe that is blurry, maybe that is confusing. So if you are attaching the bank statement, you are attaching October, December, March, so the sequence, it's all about the presentation. No matter you are attaching all the documents, but what officer is looking for, you have to attach that, and that the format that they are looking for. And if you need any help, Aisha has already shared one slide. If Aisha, if you can go back to that financial slide, because finances are playing a key role in the approval. In the GCMS note, we are seeing the statement like, I am not satisfied if the particular student do not get job in Canada, they won't be able to take care of their own expenses. So officer is not looking for only 20,635. Officer is not looking for 1 year fees. Officer is not looking for your saving certificate and property valuation. All these are your backup plan. Officer is looking for someone back home who has a strong backbone, strong employment sources with sustainable income, consistent source of income that can provide a consistent income flow, and the income is sufficient to take care of their own family back home, plus sponsoring the education in Canada. So if you see this particular slide, this is what officer is looking for, and in this is the proper sequence. So sequences also matters, and the latest document is also matters. So, and if you need any particular information, if you need any specific case consultation, you can always write an email to us, and we will guide you with the case specific suggestion.
Okay, thank you very much. Shweta, next question, I will answer it. What documents are required to prove or justify large deposit in bank account? Second question is a language test now mandatory to apply for study permit visa? So I ask the second question first. For language, if the country is an English-speaking country, the students are exempted from English test. Okay, but if the country is not an English or French speaking country, yes, a language test is mandatory. So when you apply for study permit, you can check the country specific requirement. Okay, so back to the first question, there is no general answer for this question. How to explain that we have lump sum deposit, large deposit in the bank? Ask the student, what happened to this bank? Okay, if the student say that, okay, my parents just borrowed the money, you know what? As an agent, as immigration consultant, we must have good communication with the student, and the student must tell us the truth. Okay, ask them what happened to this bank. If they say that, okay, my parents just borrowed the money, then there's no cure solution for this. Okay, there's no solution for this. If they say that, okay, this is because my father's business style once a quarter, for example, I have a student. I ask this question, why there is lump sum deposit? He explained, my father is doing business every quarter. The accountant just calculate all the money. Okay, that's why every 3 months we have large deposit. Then okay, then we have good explanation with other evidence, with invoices to show them that this is the nature of the business, right? But can you use this excuse or reason to explain every problem? No. Ask your student what's the reason. Okay, give their specific explanation in this scenario. Okay, next question, Aisha. Please, is the bank statement for 3 months or 6 months?
It's 6 months. We always recommend that you provide bank statements for 6 months. Make sure, again, if there are no lump sum deposits during these 6 months. If there are, then provide valid explanation as to where those funds came from.
Yeah, thank you. Shweta, back to you. What are the parameters for assessing statement of purpose?
I need Aisha help. Aisha, can you please go to your SOP slide?
Yeah.
As we always say in our webinar, officer does not have time to read your life story of 4 or 8 pages. We have to concise everything in 2 pages, and we have to include only the key information. Like for example, opening, your name, your country, the college name, program name, location. In the education, whatever is your highest education, whatever is your latest education, from where you have completed this education. And if you got very good score, mention it. If you have relevant subject, like for example, if you are going for math and related courses are very good for business foundation, so mention it that I have done this program with relevant subject. If you got very good score, mention it. If you got more than the expected IELTS score, mention it, so that officer is include your selling point, market your good points, strong points. Then officer is reading your SOP. Okay, this is good, check mark. The next paragraph, very good point, check mark. So officer should be convinced as soon as they finish with your SOP. Like for example, work experience. If you have any work experience, mention what exactly you are doing. What was your designation? Which company? Which country? What kind of experience and skill you have earned? And how all these things is going to help in your study program in Canada, plus your future career plan. The next one is, why do you want to study this program? Definitely, if you have irrelevant background, like for example, you were an electrician and now you are going for BID, you have to make some connection why you're choosing this diverted pathway. It's okay to change your career, it's okay to change your program, but there has to be some relevancy. You have to create connection between your past, present and future. There has to be a streamlined process. Officers should be it should be easy for officer to understand why the sudden change. And if there is a consistency, like something you are doing, your education, your work experience, your plan to study in Canada, and your future plan about your career, if everything aligns in one straight line, it's very good for the officer. Officer will think, oh, the person was on right track from the start, and it will end up to the right what to say, objective as well. The next one, why do you want to study in Canada? We have seen like people criticizing other country. That's not a good thing. So try to include the convincing point that that was very persuasive to you to pick Canada as a career option, or sorry, as an education destination. Then why do you want to study at Yorkville? Here it's very important that you do research what kind of career opportunity you have in your home country. Try to mention some countries, try to mention the job position you're looking for, try to mention some salary, try to mention some company that you have dreamed to work with. So officers should have the impression that you have everything ready in your mind. You just need this Canadian degree to go to this right track and find complete your objective. Financial stability, very 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 important that you talk about numbers. Every single number that you are showing in your finances, mention it here. I have paid this much fees, I have this much in my GIC account, my father or whatever, whoever is your sponsor, they do this for living, like what is their employment source, this is what they are earning monthly, this is what they are earning annually, this is we are showing in the bank statement, this is we are showing in FD. Total property evaluation report, like my home cost this much, like make a table. As I said before, just conclude the strongest point that officers should not find any reason to refuse. I mean, it should be very hard for them to find a single reason to refuse. So if we are making that kind of application, definitely we are heading to approval. Then ties to home country return plan. So many students talk about having their families in Canada. I'm not saying we should hide it. Definitely, we are going to put this information in the family information form, but let's not boast it too much, because officer may think that you have more ties to Canada and less ties to home country. So as I said before, try to find some strong reason. Parents can be the reason for sure, but career is what you are looking for. This is what your objective is. So try to do some research and market research and include all those persuasive reasons that you have to come to go back to your country. Conclusion, simply thanks, and closing, your sign and signature. So yes, add all the strong points that you think that a very strong factor for the officer to approve you for an application. So if you are concluding, being concise, definitely you have very very good chances of approval. And if further, if you need any help, you are not confident, or you need a second opinion, we are always here to help you. You can always share SOP, we can book a Zoom call, we can just discuss the SOP over the Zoom call, and it will be done in within 30 minutes. That's it.
That's great. Thanks, Shweta. Next question I will answer. Can family come with principal applicant while studying undergraduate program? Currently, based on IRC's policy, if you are talking about a spouse, okay, for generally speaking, there's no spouse open work permit except for some programs. For most programs, student cannot bring their spouse to come to Canada. The spouse cannot apply for a spouse open work permit. If you're asking for parents, the parents may apply for visit visa to come to visit the principal applicant. But my suggestion is that no matter what, when you apply for study permit, focus on the study permit for the principal applicant only. Okay. I saw students say that, okay, I'm married, I want to bring my 2 kids with me, and they submit the application, the study permit application with the 2 visa application for the 2 kids. No doubt there is refusal. Okay, you must have strong family tie. The officer won't want to see that you bring all your family to come to with you. It doesn't make sense. So please, when you apply for study permit, focus on the PA principal applicant first. Let the person approved, and then have the next plan for the family members. Okay. So next question, Aisha, back to you. The SOP, is it to be addressed to immigration or the school? Well, that's a common question.
Sorry. It has to be addressed to the immigration officer. The SOP is a letter to the immigration officer, the visa officer.
Okay, thank you. Shweta, back to you. If my sponsor is not family related, how do I show the proof of relationship?
To be honest, if his unusual sponsor officer already has a doubt and this kind of application, to be honest, these are weak application. So like for example, I'm giving you some random example. My mother's boss is sponsoring my education. This is a very common reason, we are seeing. And my family friend is sponsoring my education. These are unusual sponsor. In this, we are living in this world where if our families is sponsoring, we should be lucky enough, right? So if somebody third parties is sponsoring our education, definitely that create a weak point, to be honest, and such kind of application won't have good chances of approval considering the latest scenario. um, but still we can try to prove that whatever we are stating, like if it's a family friend, how we can prove it a family friend, maybe we can post some. Or okay, one more thing. So any case, I mean, if you don't have anyone, you have to go with a third party sponsor only. Make sure they are sponsoring your education or helping you financially, like in start, like for example, they have funded your school education also, and you have to show the financial history that they were sending you this much amount. Like they are committed for your particular education, not only Canadian education. They were helping you to run your house, they were helping you sending money for your school, they were sending money for your tuition and extra class. So just show the financial history that this commitment was not is not new. It was like, oh, like since your birth or since your childhood they were financially sponsoring you. So if you can just establish that history, you can provide proof. Maybe officer can get some persuasive point in your scenario.
Okay, thank you. Next question, I will answer this. How to resolve this issue? You have limited employment possibility in your country of residence. That I'm not satisfied that you will leave Canada at the end of your stay. I know that recently some of our refusal letters state that you have limited employment possibility in your country. It seems like that, okay, there's no solution, right? The first thing when you receive this such of refusal letter, apply for GCMS notes. On the GCMS notes, officer should give detailed reasons why he believes the applicant has limited employment possibilities. For me, my solution is work on the SOP. Okay, show the officer that I'm a good student. I have a clear view of why I want to study this program, and after graduation, what I'm going to do. A clear career plan. Okay, using a good SOP to conquer this question. That's my suggestion. GCMS notes, good SOP. And the next question, Aisha, back to you. What is the chance of someone with a valid visitor visa and who have traveled to Canada and then returned back to home country? What is the chance? Thank you.
Chance for what? I don't understand the
I
question.
think
What
the
is-
approval chance. What if somebody with
Oh,
a
someone who has a valid visitor visa
yeah,
and who
yeah.
I mean, I mean, of course, if you've been approved for Canada once, that definitely is a positive for the student, for the applicant. But that doesn't mean that you kind of slack on the study permit application. I mean, you have to do your due diligence and like that we just discussed, the kind of documentation and everything that is required for a study permit application has to be submitted. So nothing changes in terms of how the study permit application is submitted. Definitely having an approval for a visitor visa could add some level of positivity for this person, for this applicant, in terms of the immigration history. But that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. Kevin, back to you.
Excellent. Thank you. So we are at time, and I just want to thank everyone for their excellent questions. A lot of information, and really thank you to the immigration team, Aisha, Sarah, Shweta. Thank you for supporting all of our partners with your expert advice. And as we know, everything is sort of evolving on a very regular basis, almost on a daily basis, it feels like sometimes. And of course, we have to pivot our approach to make sure that we're adjusting to this information as it comes. And just as the team has suggested, please do not hesitate to reach out we definitely encourage your students and yourself to attend our weekly webinars on study permit success. Again, just as information evolves and changes and things change from the immigration side of things, just you never know what might have been the case last week might be different this week. So definitely keep in touch with us. Keep coming to those webinars as you need to, and don't hesitate to reach out. So with that, I want to thank all of you for your time today. It's been great, and of course, happy to do this again in the near future. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your Apply Board representative to get in touch with us, or if you have specific questions. And again, thank you for being a partner of us, and thank you so much, Aisha, Sarah, and Shweta, for your time. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and we hope to see you soon.
Thanks,
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.